Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Seven C's of Communication. I'm Iolande V. Argent. I am the AR Toastmasters President-elect. Let's get started. This is being brought to you by the Iolande Argent Coaching. Communication all the time. We spend most of our entire day communicating, writing emails, facilitating messages, hosting conference calls, creating reports, devising presentations, debates with your colleagues, so on and so forth. With all that communication, how do you provide a huge boost in your productivity? See, when we communicate, we need to make it the clearest and most effective way possible. That's where the 7 C's of communication come in. They're very helpful. They provide a checklist to make sure that your meetings, emails, conference calls, reports, and presentations are well constructed and clear so your audience gets the message. And you're probably asking yourself, what are the 7 C's? Well, being clear, being concise, being concrete, being correct, being coherent, being complete, being courteous. Let's start with the first one, being clear. When writing or speaking to someone, always be clear about your goal or the message you're trying to convey. Think to yourself, what's the purpose of communicating with this person? If you're not sure, then they won't be either. It's critically important that your messages are clear and completely understandable by whomever you're communicating with. Don't beat around the bush. Don't wander off topic. Try to minimize the number of ideas in each sentence. Make sure that it's easy for your reader or listener to understand your meaning. People shouldn't have to read between the lines and make assumptions on their own to understand what you're trying to say. Being concise. Concise communication is the ability to say what you want to convey in the least amount of words possible without foregoing the other C's of communication. In other words, kiss it or keep it short and simple. Being concise is that when you meet facts, when you add them to your writing or speaking, if they're mentioned, they are consistent and have supporting information. When statements are varied, they will confuse the receiver, and you don't want that. Concise communication has the following features. It's both time-saving as well as cost-saving. It's underlining and highlights the main message as it avoids using excessive and needless words. Concise communication provides a short and essential message in limited words to the audience. A concise message is more appealing and comprehensible to the audience, and a concise message is not repetitive in nature. Being concrete. Concrete communication implies being particular and clear rather than fuzzy and general. Concreteness strengthens the confidence. A concrete message has the following features. It is supported with specific facts and figures. It makes use of words that are clear and that build the reputation. And a concrete message is not misinterpreted. Being correct. Now, correctness in communication implies that there are no grammatical errors in your communications. When you're speaking, that means no mispronounced words. Names can be tricky, as you may see them written one way as opposed to how you actually say them. For instance, Tualaip, Puyallup, and Yosemite are all spelled one way, and when you hear them, they're completely different. If the communication is correct, it boosts the confidence level of both the listener or the reader, as well as the speaker. Correct messages have greater impact on their audience. They check for the precision and accurateness of the facts and figures that are being used, and they make appropriate and correct language in the message. Now, here's some tips for keeping your correct communications correct. When your communication is correct, it will fit your audience. It is error-free. It uses technical terms that fit your audience's level of education and knowledge. It makes sure all names and titles are spelled correctly in your writing. Check your writing for grammatical errors. Spell check doesn't catch everything. This generally applies to having correctly spelled words, but they are the wrong word. Being coherent. Coherency in communication means that it's logical. All points are connected and relevant to the main topic, and the tone and the flow of the text are consistent. Being complete. A complete message is that the audience has everything it needs to be informed, and if applicable, take action. It should convey all facts required by the audience, and the sender of the message must take into consideration the receiver's mindset and convey the message accordingly. Here are some tips for creating complete messages. They develop and enhance reputation of the organization or speaker. Moreover, they are cost-saving, so no crucial information is missing and no additional cost is incurred in conveying extra message if the communication is complete. A complete communication always gives additional information wherever required, and it leaves no questions in the minds of the receiver. It also completes by helping to make better decisions because it makes the audience or receivers of the message get all desired and crucial information that they need to make that decision. It persuades an audience, and it makes sure that it includes a call to action so that your audience clearly knows what they're supposed to do next. It also includes all relevant information such as contact names, dates, locations, etc. Number 7 is to be courteous. Always be courteous in your communication. Courteous communication is friendly, open, and honest. Keep your reader's viewpoint in mind, and you're empathetic to their needs. A courteous message implies the message should show the sender's expression as well as should respect the receiver's. The sender of a message should be sincerely polite, judicious, reflective, and enthusiastic. A courteous message has following features. It implies taking into consideration both viewpoints as well as feelings of the receiver of the message. It's positive and focused on the audience. It makes use of terms showing respect for the receiver of the message. It's not at all biased. Okay, and that brings us to our Q&A portion. So let's look over here in the chat room. Oh, hello everybody. I see David coming in out of New York. I see, hi Natasha. Natasha's coming in out of Kansas City. Welcome. Stephen, always a pleasure, coming in out of LA area. Oh, and there's Tyler coming in out of Long Beach. Hi, Tyler. I got some West Coast people with us today. Hey, come on, East Coast not representing. Okay, there's Keisha coming in and out of Georgia. Hi, Keisha. Keisha has a question. Oh, yes, with regards to your audience. Well, you are going to know firsthand to whom you're speaking. So you have to make it applicable. If you're addressing people who are in positions of power or seniority, such as your boss, it's a more formal style. Whereas if you are addressing somebody that's your peer or maybe a subordinate at work, you can be a little more informal. But you must always keep how they're going to react to something in mind when you are trying to communicate. Oh, hi, Devin. Devin's coming in out of New England. Good afternoon to the Boston area. Okay. When you're speaking, eye contact is very important in communication. When your eyes wander off, it usually implies that you don't know what you're talking about. And sometimes you could just say you've lost your train of thought. My personal go-to on that is when you have lost your train of thought, I will just be honest. It's called being transparent. Hence back to being courteous and concise. Just tell them, my train of thought got derailed. It'll be pulling back into the station at any moment. Generally, it makes people laugh, but they enjoy the fact that you're being honest, that you've completely lost whatever it was you were talking about, which happens, especially if you have a lot on your mind or you're trying to convey more than one idea at the same time, which is why we tell you to slow down so that you are complete in finishing one thought before you start in on another. Okay, Davis. Davis is coming in from Washington, D.C. area. Good afternoon. That is a good point. Davis brings up the point, what happens when your listener is constantly interrupting you? Davis, that's actually covered in how to be an active listener so that you're not doing what they're doing. When you constantly have someone who's interrupting you, they are never going to understand what you're saying anyway. And eventually they will have to come back to you and ask and require you to repeat yourself. Now, the part of the listener is to be courteous and respectful while the speaker is speaking in order to take in the information. And you can politely remind them of being courteous. If they are the kind that are just courteous, better known as they're using the time that you're speaking to think about what they're going to say next and not take in what you're saying. This is not somebody who is a good communicator. This is someone who may have self-esteem issues, and they feel that they must always be seen and heard at the same time. So again, gauge your audience. You can communicate with them, but make it limited. Keep it concise. Say exactly what you need to say and then move on. Anything else? No? Well, I'll tell you what. If you guys come up with anything else, here's some resources and a way to contact me and get a hold of some great information. Now, as you know, I am the AR Toastmasters president. Our group is out here in California in the Sacramento area. We meet on the first and third Thursdays of the month at 7 p.m. We meet at IHOP located at 2216 Sunrise Boulevard in Rancho Cordova. The meetings are free. We practice communication, how to do good presentation, how to think on your feet, especially with table topics because they catch you off guard. Our environmental is non-judgmental and we're very supportive. If you are not in our Sacramento area, or even if you are, because we have over 100 different Toastmaster chapters, you can visit the Toastmasters International website, which is toastmasters.org, I believe, and just locate a member chapter in your location. If there are no chapters in your location, you can actually apply to start your own Toastmasters. And thus, there may be others in your area that have been looking for a place to meet up and practice their speaking. And it is a great way to meet other speakers and help improve your conveying of thoughts. Now, there's the Iolande Argent Coaching. We provide one-on-one support and coaching for speaking as well as confidence. Again, we can do one-on-one, or as we say, our global sessions, which is better known as a group session. We convene online, or if you are local in the Sacramento area, we have group meetups as well. Currently, we're running a 6-week coaching for speaking with confidence. It's being offered for $90, which is regularly $180, so half off. And there's the special code there. So just take that down and click over to the site and sign up for the 6-week coaching. Again, we do them online, and we also have one-on-one coaching available. This particular session, I believe, is online for 6 weeks. So you can take it from anywhere in the world and just get on your tablet or smartphone or your laptop, desktop, whatever you're using. Also, I am an avid supporter of Earn a Living with Your Voice. I believe in the power of podcasting, which is why we put together Power Podcasting Basics. Easy to follow step-by-step instructions. If you take the 6-week coaching for that, it includes co-hosting of your show, as well as we teach you how to get up and running and start your own podcast. There's a $200 off of our regular price, which is $347. So you'll get it for $147. And again, there's the code for that. Now, the 7 C's of communication were brought to you today by the Iolande Argent Coaching. And there's the website at iolandeargent.com. Hosted by me, Iolande V. Argent. And there's my email if you need to get a hold of me, contact_Iva, IVA, at iolandeargent.com. And we are copyrighted there. So that brings us to the end of this presentation on the 7 C's of communication. Please check the website for other offerings, as well as you can join us from our meetup group, which is at meetup.com/another speakers meetup. And we will also post some of the events that we produce there. Thank you, everybody, and I look forward to seeing you again at our next webinar, or at least online. Okay, bye-bye.